welcome to episode 3 of That's Just Ridiculous with me, Guy Kennaway.
And me, Paul Fryer.
Good to have you on board again. We're back at Paul's house. In fact, we haven't moved for a very long time. And I would like to talk this time a little bit about relationships. I think would be good to discuss, because we've steered away from that subject for obvious reasons, because we didn't want to expose Paul to any unnecessary difficulties.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
You know,
what, because I'm in a relationship and you're not? So you think that somehow...
we don't want to do it.
Yeah, but Guy, you're the one who wants to be honest. I'm in a relationship, I don't have to do that. That was a joke, by the way.
It's true. It's okay, you can count on Ellen not listening. In fact, no one we know is going to be listening.
Let's call it X, because I don't want my relationship person to be revealed. So X, you know, the thing is, Guy...
What a strange thing. Why?
Because it's my personal life.
This is no time for boundaries.
Don't drag my personal life into this, Kennaway.
Isn't this all about your personal life?
Let's just start again with that, actually.
Great. Okay. So what is this about? This is about a showbiz personality called Paul Fryer. It's like Cliff Richard. That's who you want to be.
No.
You're the Cliff Richard of the podcasting.
No, it's not that.
World.
It's just that, you know,
Why
wait a
don't you
minute.
just be straight about who you are? It's like, what's the problem?
Well,
it's better that way, isn't it?
All right, yes, it is. But you know,
right, okay. With that cleared up, we can.
Relationships are complicated, though. And I don't like the way you're delighting in the fact that I might reveal something which might derail my relationship.
I love the might.
No. Is this all wrong?
No, I don't mean that. I'm not trying to...
Oh, you don't mean that?
No.
It just came out like that.
It's a light-hearted remark.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, whatever. I know you. You might not know him, but I know him. And I
What's
know
it like? You moved from town to the country. How is it? And at the same time, you moved in with Eleanor.
Yes.
It's very Paul, this place where we're currently recording, because there's this like absolute fuck-off, beautiful kind of medieval mansion with huge wrought iron gates. It really is exquisite. And so Paul gets the sort of, he gets all the grandiosity and the hugeness and the sort of luxury and the massiveness of that, which you've always liked. Your studio in London was like really ambitiously large and like massive, and you like to large it.
Excuse me, I don't live in that house, though.
I know you don't.
So let's just make that clear.
But it does look like you do.
No, it doesn't. How does it look like that? I live in this little house here.
Well, because you turn up at the drive, you go, oh, God, things are going well.
Yeah, and then you come here and you go, all right.
Hold on. We're in a delightful...
I'm renting a little cottage which happens to be in the grounds of an 11th century manor. Unlike Guy, who lives in this big fuck-off house in Pilton with a hairdo.
Actually, the funny thing about the thatch is that the guys who came to do the thatch...
We were talking about relationships, and now we're on your thatch.
All right,
See, look, this is the thing about relationships, Guy.
Okay, we could talk about hair.
I think we should talk about your relationships, Guy, for a little while, and then we might get on to mine.
Well, I've always had difficulties.
Oh, no, that's all right.
I've always had difficulties in that department, along with every other department.
Have you tried being gay?
Not really.
All right, let's not talk. Solely with women.
No, I couldn't. No, that's the way. That's the way I am. That's the way I am. Yeah, I'm landed with that.
It doesn't work if you're not into it.
No.
It doesn't. Anyway, look. I wanted to ask you about why. Actually, this is what I wanted to ask you. Why do you want to talk about relationships?
Well, because I think that I don't hear people talking about real relationships and real situations on the radio or on TV or in film. It always seems to be couched in terms that never really strike me as honest. Maybe because they're protecting themselves, and I understand that, or because they're trying to entertain people, or because they feel that they feel that they should say something which is not very interesting because they succeed at it. Certainly on Radio 4, you don't hear people talking about relationships very much, and they're the things that really are almost the last things we have left nowadays, with the kind of country falling apart and the politics shot to hell and the environment shot to hell. What we're really left with is with our lovers and our friends and our enemies, and to me they're the most fascinating area of sort of discourse, of discussion, of debate. And I spend a lot of time with my friends talking about relationships, and they're a great subject. They're a great subject. They reveal a lot about I reveal a lot about myself, and it's a great way of showing my frailties and also my strengths, and getting into a bit of meat. It's like eating. It's like a good main course. Relationships.
You've been married, haven't you, Guy?
I have. I was married for 21 years. Yeah. And
do you miss being married?
I think that the central problem for me with love relationships rather than friendships is that I tend to worry that I have to share a reality, and that not sharing a reality is in some way some kind of infidelity or kind of or sort of betrayal. I tend to worry about that, and I normally end up shifting my position to theirs, and I have to get into a kind of completely inauthentic situation, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, because I'm kind of trying to please them. I'm trying to be the person they want, or think the things they want, or see the world the same way that they see it, rather than say, this is who I am, and I don't agree with you, because I just think if I say that, then they won't like me or they won't love me anymore.
I feel a bit like that, but I have put it down to being an artist, or being involved in making things in that way, in that you need to have a certain amount of not space, but you need a certain amount of clarity in order to do that. And when you meld or mingle with another person, it becomes quite difficult.
Very.
And do you think it's that, or do you think everybody feels like that?
Well, I don't know. I think it's obviously. I think I have a particular problem with it. I mean, even to the extent, I'm trying to give an example of it. It's like, say, at the end of an evening, I'm feeling tired. If the person I'm with is not feeling tired and wants to stay up, I will feel it's in some way a betrayal for me to say I'm going to bed and leaving them up on their own. Whereas in a functioning relationship, the person can stand up and go, I'm really tired, I'm off to bed.
Yeah.
And I always watch that, totally aghast and so impressed. And I go, God, how can they do that?
And they don't have a fight about it. Yeah.
They don't have a fight about it.
Yeah.
They're saying, this is who I am. And naturally the person goes, he's tired, it's okay to go to bed.
I'm on the verge of getting that now. It's really cool. Seriously, it's really nice.
Of course, but I've never been there. I've never been there.
Never?
Never. Because I'm too scared to go there, I think.
Guy. That shocks me, really.
And so when I'm on my own...
Not shocks me,
when
but
I'm on my
surprises
own,
me.
I can go to bed and not feel guilty about going to bed.
But you don't feel guilty when I'm at your house and you go to bed, like when you're
well, actually, funny enough, I did, because it happened the other night.
Yeah, it did,
and you mentioned it, you commented on it. And it,
you left me.
Yeah, you said you left me. You left me. With my garrulous mate. And I felt, oh God, that was a bit disloyal.
That was a joke.
I should. I know. I do understand that, but still, that I did notice it.
Yeah.
And I have no separation between me and my love. I just turn into the same sort of.
They are church and state, Guy.
Oh, indeed.
And you have to separate them. And what it is just boundaries, because you have to say to yourself at some point, and I'm dreading this really, because since moving here, to answer your question, and being here with Eleanor in this place, and it's not that I don't have to work, I do have to work. I have to work for money, I have to work for my sanity, but I haven't been working, and therefore we've been concentrating on being together and doing the things that need to be done in order to cement that, and also to help Eleanor with the things she's doing, to make sense of not being in London anymore. But to suddenly, like lately, I've been thinking, shit, I really have got to get my finger out and do something. I mean, obviously we're doing this, and this is really, I really enjoy it, and I like talking to you, but for me, making my work is like you with your writing. It's something that I am compelled to do in some way. It's an itch that you have to scratch in some way.
Have to.
And I'm dreading it now. I'm dreading the whole thing of, I'm going to have to set up a studio, and I'm going to have to be, like, selfish and...
Well, that's how it feels. It does feel like a selfish act. And so that's why I can't be in that relationship.
But it's church and state, and you have to do it, in a way. Do you know what I mean? There's you, who you share, and there's the you that makes things, and it has to be different, otherwise you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
Well, for me it's a real problem, but it's less of a problem, obviously, on my own, so I can just go to bed
Right.
when I want and get up
Of course it is, that's the problem.
and do what I need to. And so then but at the same time I lose a lot of that kind of companionship. When I arrived today, I saw you and Ellen just sitting on the sofa together. And I did think, oh God, I don't really sit like that in an intimate kind of setting, just chatting quietly with someone in that way. But I got my friends. I've definitely really developed friendships since not being in a partnership. And when I'm in a partnership, friendships often do fall behind.
Oh, that's certainly true.
And whereas I think functioning people who really know how to do it maintain a partnership and also their friends. And for them, it's not a conflict.
It is
It's
always a
somehow
conflict.
for me, it's always a goddamn
It's always
conflict.
a conflict. I'm
Maybe
sorry.
because my friends are
Well, it is for me.
so difficult.
Because then you start saying, well, then there's the old argument that happens, which is like, we spend more time with your friends than my friends, and then there's our friends. So there's the ones who are regarded as our friends.
Am I your friend or our friend?
You're
or
ours, our friend.
Right, yeah. Am I your only joint friend?
No, there are a few others. But you are one of a very
It's a very small Venn diagram.
Very small, overlap
of
in the
Venn.
Venn diagram. Yeah. It's a
Do you
very
have our enemies on the Venn diagram as well?
God, well, yeah, we do actually. If I'm honest, there is that group, but we don't talk about them.
Yeah. I'm using this as an ashtray. Oh, no, I'm not.
I'll just use the floor. We're outdoors.
But I don't know if we are outdoors. We're in a kind of loggia. I think it's called a loggia. It's sort of half outdoors, half indoors. And I didn't know whether to tap my I didn't know whether it was an awful thing. It's like tapping.
No, it's indoors, outdoors, outside
I
in.
remember watching someone grinding a fag out on a carpet in a party.
What at my party?
Fuck.
What, at my party?
It was a party, man. Whoever it was. with his shoe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's a pie.
Yeah, don't be so uptight.
Yeah, relax, guys.
As he put his cigarette out on his wife's bosom. I am dreading starting work again because I find it is really disruptive to relationships in general, being so insular, because you have to really focus. It's not even just focusing as well, it's a mania. I don't think I do it particularly well. I have to go into a manic. It's quite profligate. I'm not very efficient, and I don't think I'm very efficient with my emotions when I'm in that state either. So I'm thrashing around trying to find something, and I end up. It can be quite bruising if you're around me. I know it can, because I'll turn around and say, you know what, you have to get out of my face because I just need some time. And
right, okay. I'm totally incapable of saying that sentence.
It's not really a good thing.
100%
Not
capable.
the sentence, but it's like that's the feeling that comes off you.
Well, that's the thought, but I go,
Well,
it's absolutely fine, I won't work, we'll go and have dinner. It'll be
Is that what
absolutely
you
fine.
say?
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
God.
Let's have a drink, it's
Yeah,
absolutely
wonder
fine.
you end up finishing with them.
Right,
Guess what?
no,
You're out the door.
and I go completely crazy.
Yeah, then you
I
go
like start
berserker, yeah.
You're weird and start acting
And then
in
you
an
just
odd
say,
way.
you know what? We're finished. We're finished. Fuck you.
No, I don't say that. I just go and behave like an idiot,
Right.
But
So do you tend to finish relationships by not by
text?
No. No, I meant by
Yes.
Well, yes. No, but I meant by doing something which causes the relationship to no longer be.
No,
viable.
I haven't even got that courage. It's worse than that. It's worse than that.
Do you use some kind of manipulation technique?
I don't know, please. It's just so painful.
You wanted to talk about this.
Yeah,
you
you're
can't
right.
start
I know,
shaking
why
your head
not?
now and saying, no, please. The glare. Guy, here's to it.
Here's to it, yeah, cheers, yeah.
That makes a change.
It's a bit sweeter than yours.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Not bad, though.
It's a Burgundy, isn't it? Yeah.
This one?
Two wine snobs get together and talk about crap wine.
Yeah, yeah.
It's lovely.
Exactly. It's what we can afford.
Yeah.
I used to shoplift wine, and I used to change the...
God, I've never shoplifted.
I used to find... No, but what I realised was that all the best wines didn't have a barcode. And they just looked at the price on it. This is when barcodes first came in.
Right.
And it went on for about a year after barcodes came in, all the really fancy wines. And the cheapest of the fancy wines was about £7, and the most expensive was about 25 to 30 quid. So I just used to swap the £7 label for the 25 quid one.
I wonder if they still do. I don't think a really expensive bottle of claret has a barcode on it now. I don't think Mouton Rothschild has a...
See what they've done there? They've stuck one on
They've
there.
added it on, yeah.
So they put a little label on, and that's what they used to do as well in the old days.
But no, I never got into shoplifting because my family were in retail, and we was just like drilled into
Tesco?
No,
No, you can shoplift from Tesco or Sainsbury.
Well, not
If
for
you're
me.
poor.
You can't. That's called theft. But
If you're
anyway,
poor and you need good wine.
You don't thief because you're stealing from yourself, your soul.
That's bollocks.
You don't. You don't thief.
That's utter rubbish.
Okay, all right. Okay.
That's privileged talking.
All right, okay. Well, there we are. But I had a mate, Mark. He worked at Jackson's in Piccadilly. So I think it's closed down now. So we're going back a little bit time, and. Nikki would get drunk at lunch and she'd go, we're just going to go over to Jackson's, and he would get him behind the till and we'd like fill up it was a bit like Fortnum's. We'd fill up a basket with fine, comestibles. Comestibles. Fine teas.
The finest
packets,
wines.
Exactly, the finest wines, no, you meant it. And then we'd take it, make sure Mark was on the till, and it would be like maybe like 30 quid's worth of stuff in a basket, and he would like ring it up, and he would say, that's £5.29.
And that's not stealing.
Now hold on a moment, I wasn't part of this. Nicky used to do this. I would shrink back in horror.
But you were there?
Indeed.
Oh, I see. So you're one of the guys at the back
I'm just
who benefits without saying anything.
But what was so great was that he would say, that's £5.29 when it was clearly about 30 quid. And she would then give him a fiver and he would give back 40 quid change.
Oh, that's a class act. That's genius.
She stole the display out of the window at Jackson's, actually. It was a display of lobsters.
Poor Jackson.
I know, they went bankrupt, no surprise.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But you
they had
see,
like really old people working there. It was a lovely old school.
Tesco can afford it, you know. I don't shoplift anymore because I'm scared.
A moral. It's not a pragmatic. It's a moral. It's a moral issue. It's not a pragmatic issue.
Of course, it's a practical
belongs
issue.
to someone else, and I don't like people stealing from me.
If you
I don't know
can't
if you've had
afford
stuff nicked
food,
from me.
you steal food. Simple.
Yeah, well, I can always afford food.
Well, that's bully for you.
Yeah.
Then
And
you're
I think
lucky that you've
probably
never been in that position.
Most people who steal can't they?
No.
Okay.
Why do you think people are taking food from food banks, Guy? Is it because they're...
Because it's free.
Oh, dear me. Do you really think that? You've walked past it how many times in your local store? Have you ever taken something from it because it's free?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen a food bank.
You don't even
in
know
my
what
life.
one is, do you?
No.
I'll take you down the shop and show you one. There's one at the front of every supermarket.
There is not.
There is.
No, that's what you put. That's where you put your things in.
To go to the food bank?
For the poor people.
Yeah.
You don't take stuff out of there.
No, but you don't. But you go to the food bank to get that stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know where the food bank is.
You mean you haven't tried shoplifting from that box at the front where the food bank food goes?
No, I have not.
No, neither have I. But
Have you put anything into it?
Yeah. A box of tea last week.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought I'd make a start.
Why?
I don't know, something came over me. It was a feeling of... I actually went back into the shop and did it. Because I was walking past it and I looked guiltily at my basket and thought, it's really fucking unfair. I looked at what was in there and it was like, it's all really basic stuff that goes in there. Anyway, we're talking about relationships, everybody, so now we're on food banks. Because Guy can't quite hack it.
Actually, food banks is more painful.
Do you know what? It's what is it? What the Swedes say? Big mouth, small workshop. Come on, Guy. Relationships. Let's get back on the beam. So, do you want me to talk about relationships? Would that help?
Okay. Well, if you've got a...
Well, ask me a question then, because I'm not just going to start.
If you've got something to say.
Well, no, you have to ask me a question. Come on, this is conversation.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about... So you're in a committed relationship, okay, and you're gooey with each other, and you say, "I love you forever." And
Yeah, for argument's sake.
You don't mean forever, and you go, "Yeah, I mean forever."
No, wait a minute.
I
What's
mean
this
forever.
fantasy? I've never said that.
Haven't you? Doesn't everyone say that?
Guy, no.
Oh no, I thought it was you, me, contra mundi.
Forever.
You, me, the stars.
Forever's a long time.
Right. So, but you don't feel that there's any kind of problem that you will, between now and the casket and the coffin and the grave, you will sleep with anyone but Eleanor. That's not a problem to you.
Well, look,
how do you...
everything's a problem if you look at it like that. An old friend of mine once says, the best you can hope for with any relationship is that one day one of you is going to wake up next to a corpse.
Yeah, well, that's lovely. That's till death us do part.
But it's not that lovely, is it, waking up next to a dead person and then having to live your life in misery because they've left you? you have to preserve some of yourself, and that's even if you're not, you know, don't have the vanities that we insist on percolating. But I think relationships are not about that. That relationships are about, increasingly for me, I would say they're about enjoying the moment and trying to maintain the moment as being almost like a holy thing. So you stay there and you understand how precious and beautiful it is to be alive, and stay there. Try and stay in that moment, because if you're in that moment, there's nothing can go wrong, as you said.
Nothing can go wrong. And you don't have this gnawing feeling of boredom and repetition.
Everybody has that. That's life.
I know what they're going to say. And like something happens.
Man, don't you get that about eating? Don't you get that about going to the loo? I mean, that's normal.
But with my friends, I can go, they're being a bit boring, I'm going to go to bed or I'm going home. But with your partner, you can't really do that. You're like stuck with it.
Well, you have to have a healthy activity front, so that if you're working together or doing things together, it's testing and trying and annoying enough that you don't get. If you get annoyed with each other, you've got a very good reason for it, and you can blame it on the task in hand. Because if you're just sitting in the room together, yeah, it's going to get fucking boring, and it's unequal. No relationship is equal either.
Do you think so? Do you think
what
was it Rochefoucauld said? One does the loving and the other allows themselves to be loved.
Yeah, and hopefully, if you're lucky, it swaps. My uncle always says that it's all about child, adult, adult, child. He said, and for beautiful moments, you'll be equals, either both children together or both adults together, and you'll ride that wave for a little while, and then you'll switch back to adult, child, and one of you will be the adult and the other will be the child, and that's the way it proceeds, and you get used to managing that.
Right.
I thought that was quite wise.
Yeah. And then a lot of tensions start coming in about time, as you just said, about money, about other people.
Money's a fucker. I'm sorry, it's a fucker. It just distorts everything. It's really very difficult to navigate, because always there's problems in that area. It doesn't matter. You either, you marry a person who's wealthier than you and you've fucking got a nightmare on your hands, or if you're the person that's got the most money, then you're feeling put upon because you don't feel they're contributing. But there's so many other things that happen. I think you have to broaden your horizons a bit, and it's hard to do. I think it's a real problem, that. It can be a real problem.
Yeah.
Because it's always, you can't help it. That's what this whole thing is set up to do. It's set up to make us all, it's hierarchical, isn't it, the system? But when you're together with your loved one, you're not supposed to see that.
No, you're in a lovely love bubble.
Oh, God, Guy. I'm amazed that it's good that you kept it going for 21 years. I don't know how you managed it in your love bubble.
Well, I think the good lover can recreate the first moments of falling in love again and again and again. And I think that love and sex are basically acts of the imagination. Now, most people say that is like you're wildly out of order. That's just like you're just making it into a stupid game rather than dealing with some lovely fundamental core things about trust, companionship, and kind of intimacy. Whereas I think it's just like a game, and keep on learning how to kind of whip up the fun.
Like emotional Scrabble.
Yeah, like a kind of party entertainer, and that's what I've become. I guess become like a party entertainer.
Oh my God, Guy! Have you ever had therapy?
I've ground all therapists into dust in front of me.
There's a trail of broken therapists.
I'm really. I don't find meeting people at all difficult.
People don't do that anymore. They do it on the internet anyway.
Yeah. I don't do meeting people on the internet.
That's how everyone does it now. You know that, don't you?
And all that. Yeah, I do. But that, to me, they're the people who've just lost the basic skill of talking to someone who you want to talk to. I find that. I'm sure you find it very easy too. In fact, it's getting easier as everyone else gets worse at it. At parties, it's so
like
easy
shooting ducks in a barrel, isn't it?
You can walk up to anyone and go, "Hello, how's it going?"
And they're like, "Oh my God, somebody likes me.
Someone's talking to me." You know, it's great fun, isn't it? Meeting a new person, and it's like being on the Ellis Island of your kind of relationship, and the whole continent ahead of you. You don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, that is true.
Because soon you find out that
it's the island of Dr. Moreau.
You're on the Isle of Man.
The Isle of Dogs.
Exactly. Looking for a way to get the fucking ferry off it as fast as possible.
Right, I'm just going to leave you now, Guy, for a second, because I need to just visit the But you can say what you want now on the tape while I'm not here.
Go on.
So I'm just going to leave it here and you can say whatever you want. And I'll hear it later. You've got to be aware of that. It's recording. By the way, I can hear you out this window as well. Don't stop on my account.
I'm not going to. So Paul's gone off, and I feel like we're in the third episode here. I think it's the third episode, and I can see he's a little bit worried about really opening up and talking absolutely truthfully about what's going on with him. And hello. Did you hear what I said?
No, but I will.
He appeared in an unexpected doorway there.
Yeah, I came round the other side just to keep him on his toes. So, I mean, you know.
But the thing is that this is, in a way, we are... Actually, Damien said to me, if you have to go to a therapist, it's just a sign that you're not working your friends hard enough. And I thought, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. If a friendship isn't about saying all the... why do you need to go to a funny room and pay 50 quid an hour to someone? There's something wrong with your social life if you need to do that. You should have a mate and you should say, this is what's going on with me. It's not altogether very very nice, but I'd like to...
The guy's been on the STEP programme, though, and, you know, who's... He's had plenty of therapy, hasn't he? I mean, surely...
Well, I really don't know, actually. I really don't know.
Well, he's definitely done all that STEP stuff and given up booze and had lots of support, you know, which was... I would hazard a guess, I might be wrong about this, but I would hazard a guess that he's paid for a fair bit of it.
Right.
So, you know, that's it.
Well, anyway, when I heard that, I thought, there's a man... And he is, you know, Damien, he always struck me as a man who's pretty forthright with...
Yeah, but he doesn't always practice what he preaches because he's not the kind of person he's preaching to.
Guilty as charged. You know?
Yeah, but, you know, it's easy to say something.
It is
He's
hard.
right.
It is hard to maintain friendships over a long period of time.
It is, yeah.
Because, particularly if the person's changed, or if I've changed. I've got a friend who I knew at school, and I feel I'm a different person now. But when I'm with him, when I was with him, I don't see him really. I feel that he knows things about me, or that he sees me as a person. I feel I'm not really that person anymore.
The old version of you.
Yeah, the Mark 1.
V version 1.0.
Discontinued. There was it called a callback? Or
Yeah, that was a...
There's some design flaws in that.
Exactly.
And so I'm like the Mark 2. But when I meet him and he knew me as the Mark 1, I remember feeling distinctly uncomfortable. I shouldn't have been. I should have laughed about it. I'm being open, but I didn't quite have the courage to do that.
My friend Mick Brownell he had with his girlfriend, he was with her for a long, long time, and whenever she used to pick him up on something, he'd done something outrageous. He was very fond of amphetamines, so he used to go on these huge benders. He was a truck driver, that's how he got into it. But he was also the drummer in quite a famous band. And they used to have these blazing rows, and then he used to go, Jess, don't you understand? I've changed now. That was the old me. And this thing was something that happened the week before.
Nice footwork.
Fantastic. I actually tried that a few times. It fucking didn't wash. Yeah, I mean, you need a lot of chutzpah to pull that off, I tell you, and I obviously haven't got it. But anyway, they stayed together for a long time.
What's the point of staying together?
Well, I think when you're taking amphetamines, there's no point at all. Because it's so completely one thing, isn't it? It's like everything's feeding back into itself. But that's what self is, isn't it? I'm not going to mention any names, but I have this girlfriend, and sometimes I used to say, I'd quite like to get one of those. And she used to go, and she used to like stroke my arm and go, for yourself, for your own self.